Welcome back. I'm still Dracos, still joined by Ender. We're moments away now from getting into Champions Select. For our second game of the day, it is YDN Gamers versus GamersOrigin. The true battle of the gamers, I think it's safe to say, Ender.
Yeah, they're the real gamers, because they've both got the S in their name. Like, Gamer Legion is sort of like a fake. It's like one gamer as opposed to like the many. But yeah. This will be a good one here. YDN with chance to sort of jump up now after seeing Gamer Legion drop a game just previously. All of a sudden, battling for second place, looking a whole lot more realistic for them.
Yeah, and it's actually crazy because if GamersOrigin lose here, suddenly the group is just completely and totally open. But if they win, they're essentially locked in for a playoff seed. We'll find out later, obviously, if it's first or second, if they have to potentially play any tiebreakers for it. But it's a good place to be for GamersOrigin. Feeling comfortable, moving up to 4 wins this early in the day. All that progress that you bought in week 1 finally going to pay off. But that said, we've seen Giants in a similar boat come out, maybe be a bit overconfident in the second week, and have it turn against them pretty quickly.
Yeah, and I will say that the last time we saw these two teams face off, it wasn't like it was like a complete one-sided stomp or anything like that. You know, YDN, they played a solid early mid-game, and unfortunately, just felt like Gabbo especially couldn't do anything as the game went on. The Renekton versus a backline of Kalista, Azir, and the Karthus. It was just way too much scaling and protection on the side of GamersOrigin. So I feel like that is something we're going to have to keep in mind, whether or not GamersOrigin can just take another super free scaling combo and then just makes their, like, hey, YDN, if you don't like hard slam us early, which is probably not going to happen, we're just going to outscale you and win.
And all in all, it was just a very bizarre game. I remember a quick shot being like 31 minutes before the first Karthus ult was used. We've got, Tabasko obviously kind of monstering in the early game on this Trundle, being everywhere, shutting down the Karthus, limiting where he could farm, and then just no one on the team really being able to follow up past that, really being able to snowball that lead, snowball that advantage. And Ender, if I'm Gamers Legion, I think I do the same thing again. I think I take that scaling comp because I don't think YDN Gamers have proved yet that they can play a strong enough and a clean enough early game to close out with these smaller early game leads.
Yeah, and the big one I'm going to be checking out here for GamersOrigin is whether or not bluezor can get his Karthus one more time. I've been seeing his Karthus for a long time. It looked very good in that last game, even though he pressed ult, I think, twice, and this first ult was like 30 minutes into the game. But hey, still does a lot of damage when you land some Qs, so we'll have to keep our eyes on that one if they are looking for this guy. I see the faces you're making over there, Dracos.
I'm not excited about it. Karthus is a great champion. bluezor are a great jungler. That game of bluezor's Karthus, not my favorite, but a win's a win. You take those. Trundle banned away, of course. Set Syndra always feel like the first two that you're going to see. I like that we're finally seeing Trundle banned away. Now, personally, I don't think Trundle is an insane champion, but he has been an insane champion in EU Masters, and he's also gotten nerfed on more recent patches. So clearly enough there that Paparito decided to take him down a notch, and Thresh now banned out to a champion who don't know the updated statistics after our first game of the day, but was sitting at about a 70% win rate here in EU Masters.
Nasty. Honestly, Gamer Legion just doing their best job to make that champion not look OP, so it won't get nerfed here. We'll be taken out this time around. And yeah, now I'm wondering, we do see the LeBlanc and Zoe ban again, which I feel like we see so much early on in this tournament. It's a little bit surprising to me, but once those champions get removed, I see it on your face, Dracos. Azir plus Corky, get yourselves ready. We're going the distance.
This is a problem. Normally people can't see me during Champ Select, so they don't know when I like grimace or make faces. And now you get the full experience. But yeah, you're right, Ender. That's what I'm thinking. And look, I get it. Azir and Corky are both available, so why first pick them? Pick Ornn instead. Who doesn't love to have an Ornn next to an Azir and Corky? Who doesn't love deciding an entire game on a team fight at 30 minutes for one team about to get an Ocean Soul? It's me. I don't love it, but it's a damn good way to play, and it's been a very successful way to play so far in the tournament, so I can't knock it. That said, GamersOrigin debating on the Kalista here. They're hovering around a lot of stuff, but I liked the Kalista Nautilus that they showed last time. I think SMILEY and HustlinbeasT are one of, if not the best bottom lanes in this tournament that we've seen so far, have been very successful about building big CS leads and killing people when it counts mid to late game.
Honestly, I wonder, like, yeah, they played the Nautilus last time around, but I'd be down for a little Taric action in the bottom lane. If you're just looking for that team fight capabilities, the Taric would be very good for that. Now, I would say Taric paired with something something like a Karthus out of the jungle is probably worse than putting a Nautilus next to it. Nautilus wants to be in there sort of initiating for his own team, whereas Taric is really enabled by having other diver champions alongside him to get that E and the extension to the backline. But this is different, I'll say, bringing in the Draven to contest Kalista inside the laning phase. This could get action-packed down towards bot lane.
Ooh, and if you pair with the Nautilus as well, which I would frankly love to see, then you've got yourself a really solid bottom side of the map. And this is, as you mentioned, this is surprising because last time we saw this, it was the Ezreal Yuumi bottom lane for the side of YDN Gamers. And to be honest, they got their shit pushed in and they were down 30 CS at like 12 minutes for no good reason. So I don't have a ton of faith in their bot lane at this particular moment, but clearly the team has a lot of faith when you're willing to give them the Draven, generally considered a counter pick into the Kalista, alongside the Nautilus. This is a lane that should, in theory, on paper, totally smash. The problem is if it starts to fall behind at all, you don't want to be against the snowballing Kalista.
Yeah, it's also like really hard to fight into a Taric, I feel. Not just because he can line up his E pretty easily whenever Nautilus starts casting that Q, but also the sustain he can try to provide for his ally down bot side means that, you know, on first back or something when Kalista's going to have a Vampiric Scepter as well, things may get hard to actually really try and bully here with the Draven. But I think jungle attention is going to impact it very, very heavily. Whether or not we see Tabasko on something aggressive that can make plays early on is going to be really telling to see how much of an impact is made down towards that bottom side of the map.
And I'm incredibly surprised that we have not seen more Gragas in general.
Me too.
Like, I think this is, when in doubt, the best jungle champion to pick. I know when you talk to junglers, like, he has weaknesses, he can be exploited, but in terms of just on paper, he seems to bring the most flexible, most versatile kit to the table, and it still seems like people in EU Masters are not always willing to aggressively prioritize this champion. Now we see, however, the Corki banned away, so at least one of the scaling options into the Azir has been taken off the table. The Shen, interestingly, as well. Obviously, Shemek is pretty solid on the champion, so want to limit his
He played it the
viable
last
tank
time
pool.
around as well, and it was pretty good for the side of GamersOrigin. I am going to throw out the Poppy jungle here for Tabasko, basically just because we saw it yesterday, specifically as a counter to both Kalista and the Taric. Obviously, Poppy W is super, super powerful at keeping Kalista locked in place, but also Poppy ult when Taric starts ulting to sort of just send them completely out of the screen. I'm not sure if that's something Tabasko has practiced, but when you see Elisa as well, like, I actually think this is a really good slot to put that Poppy in again.
All right. Are you a savant? That is the question as we start to round out this draft phase, Enter. Do you have the biggest of brains? Because I like it. I'm going to be honest, I like it. I don't know anything about Poppy Jungle's clear, her relative matchups, but I know what her W and her R do, and that's like, I feel like all you need, really, and her E, of course, just, you know. That said, I don't know if he's going to do it. I want to see it too. Gragas is also good, also fine. Could go for that. A little bit too much magic damage, I think, would make itemization for top lane incredibly easy for whatever GamersOrigin do decide to pick. I wonder
if they go like Rek'Sai or something too, because Rek'Sai is another champ they can try to. Wait a second. Don't do me like that. Okay.
Now look, you got
That's
Ornn.
not Poppy.
Pretty veritable mix of damage, honestly, between Ornn, all things considered. But you got a Cassio mid lane, so you're now trying to pair these two champions together. What I don't see here, Ender, and this is what scares me, is CC and jungle mid, which I think can be a problem. It's all good if they start smashing bot lane and the young Cospect can start to roam on the Nautilus, but there's a lot of CC, or there's a lot of damage, there's a lot of engage potential. Taric Lee Sin is a lethal combo, but now, Ender, never mind. Forget I've never said word. I thought we were playing League of Legends. We're on a different year or a different patch than I'm ready for. But here's the top lane Sylas. Why are we seeing top lane Sylas?
Dude, I think top lane Sylas and Ornn is really, really sick here. Like, the individual matchup, like, who cares what actually happens in this 1v1? But just the ability to pick up that Ornn ult and use it for your own team. Ornn ult combined with Taric ult, both, like, very extended, very telegraphed. So your team can get ready to plug those right in. I'm going to be honest, though. I don't see how the Lee Sin makes sense in this draft when you're considering GamersOrigin. It gives them some more scrappiness. Oh my god, take over for a second.
Yeah, all right, get your water, bruh. I know what you're saying. I think the thing about Taric, whenever you see a Taric jungle on the team, you always want a champion. The reason why people like Taric Zac so much, for example, is because it's like a range extender for Taric's effective zone of control, his effective threat to the enemy backline. Now, Lee Sin has some of that with his ability to leap in, but doesn't super synergize well. I personally would have loved to see the Gragas, and also it's nigh impossible to get onto this backline reliably, Ender. That's going to be a big issue. Ornn has a lot of tools to disable you. He can be unstoppable. Smokescreen mitigates your ability to find a good kick. Cassio can throw down Miasma, can also ult you while you're coming in. Draven can stand aside you. Nautilus can auto-attack to snare you, and so while bluezor is certainly a great jungler, he is definitely playing it on New Game Plus here in Game 2, because it is going to be very hard to find the lineups on these insect plays.
Yeah, it's going to be hard just to go in general, even in, you know, smaller skirmishes earlier on with all the CC and self-peel tools that YDN are going to have at their disposal. That being said, early levels, you know, 3+ for the lead Sin has a lot more game opportunities than I would say a Graves would have outside the jungle, especially when you look around and see some of the lanes that he does have to work with. I think top lane is one that is gankable, especially if Shemek plays super aggro in the lane, which a lot of Sylases do like to do because of the sustain you get off of the W, and Shemek's going to be running the Conqueror as well for a little bit extra right there. So there are opportunities for bluezor after he finishes his initial clear to make those moves, but also down towards that bottom side of the map there is CC, and depending on how aggressively Cospect and Endz are playing, he can make moves there as well. Mid lane, nothing's going to happen.
Interesting, though, because I feel like the thing that I like about the Sylas top pick is that it certainly sets up for more action on the top side of the map, something we don't really get to see all too often, as it has been kind of the handshake on the handshake, rather, not
the handshake. Oh no,
the handshake, the knife fists. You know, might as well.
We didn't lock in Rengar this game. Calm down there.
No, I'm getting ahead of myself. I was too excited about the Rengar. Anyway, the handshake on the tank matchup, not going to happen. Bot lane remains a big question for me. Like, top lane obviously is super cool, but thank you, observers, as we hover bot lane. And the matchup is interesting. We know Draven's pretty solid in Kalista just because his autos hit like a truck, but haven't seen the performance level yet from Endz, but there it is, now getting aggressive. That's why people love this Draven, just chasing down this Kalista. That's going to be, ooh, is he going to commit? Endz just bullying out here. Gets the level 2, goes all in.
I feel like we saw this in the last game when we saw it here as well. Like, you know when the enemy bot lane is going to be hitting level 2, right? It's the first 6 minions and then the first 3 melees. After you get the 3rd melee, that's when you make it, when the level 2 comes on through. So SMILEY ends up taking a pretty bad trade right there. We'll just trade exhaust for exhaust. And now bluezor, oh no, he doesn't get spotted on the ward. He hops over.
Oh, he's giving us the tombstone! Because he knows what's about to happen.
He knows they're already dead.
bluezor wanted to play on New Game Plus, but baby, he's going to need a few more levels of difficulty. Won't find a kill quite yet. And so far, just burning his flash for not a whole lot, but now the turn's going to be a bit of a problem because Ornn's coming to the midst. He's unstoppable. Pillar is there. He's going to dash out of safety. Shemek now on the way in. They're turning it right back. GamersOrigin, first blood. You see the icons popping up. bluezor, as promised, make some tombstones.
The tombs come on back there. Endz is fuming with Gabbo right now. Gabbo TP's in, try and help out his ADC, but gets caught out by the CC. And bluezor and crew, they just say, hey, the gank went completely as planned right there. Ooh. They get a kill regardless.
They're walking forward into Cospect. Cospect's shield's still up, so his autos are going to hit hard. Tabasko now on the way in. Endz is just going to die.
What?
What
is happening?
Okay, Ender. Could you have predicted that one? Tell me that. Could we
No! I mean, Endz could have predicted that.
One auto. Oh my god.
Wait, they win this!
He has phase rush. He has phase rush. He has phase rush.
Oh.
Oh, thank God you can't see my camera because I
words.
Wow. Okay.
I actually think XD SMILEY could have gotten the kill right there, flashed out and lived too. But regardless, let's watch this play one more time. Everything goes all according to plan. bluezor lands the nice Q, Endz flashes away, Cospect gonna have to Q his way as well. That's when you say, hey, at the end they've got out. They're fine. But then the TP comes on through. Endz and Cospect were both walking away. Gabbo did not flash early. He flashes when he's 1 HP. So he loses the summoner spell for no reason. Also goes down in the play. But wait, there's more. Thankfully, the observers don't want to kick a team while they're down because YDN don't reveal the fact that Endz just walked in and handed over another free kill.
Oh, no. bluezor now going to walk away. Quick knock up there.
What?
Should be able to get his way out of this one. There's no Houdini moves left. They're going to donate that kill to Tabasko. And for the second time in a row when these two teams have played, Tabasko off to a rolling start. A little bit more hectic this time around, but good on Tabasko.
Dragos, you're gonna have to help me out in this one. I'm already like, I can see I'm losing hair. I'm losing hair as I'm watching these. Like bluezor getting aggressive, right? He wants to steal away the enemy camp, but he doesn't have priority coming on through. He didn't respect the fact that YDN could just walk on over there. I think that was Cospect walking in after the reset too, and ooh, it ends up throwing away all the early advantages.
Yeah, now we're looking at a bot lane that should have been a pretty free win. And the thing is neither of these champions have exceptional wave clear, and now it's just going to be an all-out brawl. It's going to be, honestly, either you're just going to back off and you're going to let the wave push into you, which is what it appears that YDN want to do, or you're going to be willing. Anytime you walk up to the wave, it's like all in city. You just have to be ready to fight.
Yeah, especially because bluezor is probably just going to hard camp outside. You can see Tabasko took away not just the Raptors, but also the Krugs. Now he's in position to make gank happen top. But Shemek is level 6.
Can steal Ornn's ult before Ornn gets Ornn's ult.
Tabasko, you're running the wrong way.
Flash. The minions hitting him, shouting, "Leave our friend alone." Oh, he's going to ruthlessly murder them, as you do. What? why is BlueRazor just keeps flashing this tune? It must be bound. It's bound to something. Okay.
Yeah, well, it's round 2 up in the top lane, but Shemek can definitely win this with the Ornn ultimate. There's no way Dive Force. You're playing Graves.
Ignite.
You can't auto-attack him.
A little bit more healing. He's trying to finish it, but they do manage to make it work. But now the entire team getting dove on the bottom side. Draven gets the cash out. That's going to be a second kill for the Draven. Double stack that money.
What is happening?
Bro, we just heard from Delivery Panda, once again, greatest name in the game, and he said his team had to get all the int out. They didn't play their warm-up. And I just got to wonder, how much more int is there left in Group A?
Nobody warmed up today. Everyone's they're like, wait, this is the real game? I thought we were just practicing, guys. This is a scrim. No, this is real. This is real, folks. And
credit to Azir, to toucouille.
Oh, yeah.
Getting that set up under the dive, looked clean, looked like everything was going to go well, and then, oh, surprise, Draven gets a BS sword now, because we just slight mistakes.
You hate
and now
to
there's
see it.
XP differential is going to be pretty fat in favor of the Draven, as XD SMILEY lost a decent amount there, and this
the XP difference is everywhere, too, because it's in the jungle for Tabasko. toucouille, thankfully, he has a big wave here, so he's able to make up some of the deficit right there, too, but I don't know. I feel like YDN not in too bad of a position here when all is said and done. Both E's there on the Taric are going to end up missing. They just full committed on towards XD SMILEY, but then HustlinbeasT gets rooted underneath the tower as well, and feels like maybe just pulled the trigger a little bit too soon there. Was GamersOrigin in the bot lane.
Well, you really want that CC to start the things off, right? To set you up correctly, but you have to wonder if the Azir maybe could have kicked things off. Either way, they overcommit. It is going to cost them the gold 1K in favor of YDN Gamers. And YDN Gamers have looked like they've contested in just about every single game they've played, outside of, once again, that Akali Kiana game. We don't talk about that one anymore. And now we're going to see exactly what Endz can do, because last game he played, the lane phase was disastrous. He was hugely down in CS. He was very far behind in gold, even with a pocket Yuumi keeping him alive and healthy. And this time around, he's playing Draven, 2-2 overall, 150 gold bounty on his head, small CS advantage. Things look good.
No, they look super good for him, and even better for Tabasko inside of the jungle now. Already got that warrior enchant finished off here. 3 kills on the Graves, and Graves is a type of champion that can almost like 1v9 you in fights. Like if he has a lead with the damage, because he is able to stack up his true grit against, you know, some champions that are diving into him, like the Lee Sin and the Sylas on the side of GamersOrigin. He's going to be able to deal with those two champions super well. Deals with the Kalista very well as well. The only champion that could give him a tough time is going to be the Azir. So if he's able to play around those Sand Soldiers in fights, focus on the front line, like this Graves is going to be cutting through very easily.
Oh, here we go, the kick over the wall, but right face first into the enemy. Draven's just going to mop them up. They have to run for their lives. Oh my god, the instantaneous turn. Nautilus all going to come out. BeastHit bringing it back to the midst of the team. That's the Ornn now coming out. BlueRazor are going to get nothing. HustlinbeasT has to hustle on out of that fight. It looks like YDN are just going to be set up to, well, do nothing because there's no dragon there, but they're going to grab kills and they're going to be happy about it.
Yeah, it was a surprise party in the bot lane. bluezor didn't realize he was getting killed for his birthday, though. That's not what he signed up for. And now Tabasko, once again, able to run straight in to bluezor's jungle. It's not just the kill, it's also the EXP on top of it. Already with a full level advantage, now going to be able to deny that blue buff away from toucouille in the middle lane as well. So feeling very, very good for the time being.
But I think really the happiest person in this game, it's not Endz who's currently on your screen, it's none other than our boy Tabasko. Because normally when I see Graves, he builds first item warrior, he takes the conservative choice ender, he goes black cleaver. This game we've got 4-0-0 Graves, and that means lethality. That means
sick.
You're not getting away from this champion. Ever. Because
you're not going to be able to move, because he's going to kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I really like this type of build, especially when you look at what GamersOrigin have. Not a lot of people building armor. It's really just HustlinbeasT for the time being. So he is going to be cutting through in any of these early fights coming around him. And this game could not have gone better for him. We said bluezor on the Lee Sin needed to make something happen before the Graves could get items. Well, not only did bluezor not make stuff happen, but Tabasko got the kills. Now he's sort of snowballing himself with a big gold advantage. And XP lead 2 levels now over that Lee Sin. He's ready to purify.
Ooh, God. And they're moving their way down to the bottom side just to make sure they can secure this dragon. They even show on Vision just to make sure that the enemy team knows, hey, you want a full 5-on-5? We're here. We're down. We will fight you. But they're just going to give this opportunity for Shemek to push in, get some plates, maybe get some gold back, find a bigger advantage for himself in this matchup. And uncontested Infernal, it will be Cloud Rift. Definitely not great. No one's super excited about Cloud Soul. I think the Cloud Dragons individually are excellent, but not as hype as maybe per se a Mountain or literally any other dragon.
You gotta go fast, man. You know, it's a little bit of speed up. Very exciting as Gabbo rotates back up into the top lane. And we're back into the bottom lane where Endz, against standard customs, has 2 best friends in his inventory. So usually you just have one of those. But this guy, I like it on the Draven, pretty standard on him. It's not the Mirror Mana, which I've actually seen a little bit of, but instead just looking to stack up as much raw damage as possible here.
Can you have 2 best friends, Ender? You got 2. Draven.
Yeah, maybe he has like a best friend and he has like the bester friend, and then when he gets his third, it's his bestest friend.
Bestest friend.
Because no one wants to be the bester friend. That just doesn't sound good.
That's like the accolade you give to your friend when he's sad. He's like, I'm your best friend, right? You're like, it's actually John, but like, you're my bester friend.
Yeah.
You're my best. There's a special category for you, buddy. Oh no. We're off the rails. If you're wondering why, it's because the game is slowed down, and without constant stimulation, our minds slowly collapse. It's a 2K gold lead for YDN Gamers. Happy to have that one in this early game. Once again, another game not going as we expected. YDN Gamers with this Draven pick have been looking solid in the early game, and slowly but surely, our boy Tabasko is ramping up with that damage.
Wait, I've never noticed this. I'm sorry. Someone just pointed this out. BF Sword faces the opposite direction of everything else. And that is infuriating me now.
Okay, wait. Of most other AD items. Look at our friend Nasher's tooth there, okay? Let's not...
No, but look, it's attack speed items. So Dagger and Nasher's go left because they're attack speed items, right?
Yes.
But all the physical damage go left to right. What is happening? Oh, you can't unsee it.
Someone out there who's like in college right now is like, as a UX designer, this is unbelievable. Like, clearly, how dare they? The lack of visual clarity in League of Legends is astounding. Is this an attack speed item or an AD item, right? How are new players supposed to know?
No. It's the clear. Look, it was made like 10 years ago, okay? People were smarter back then, clearly.
It's a better time. It's the
can read through the lies of Riot Games.
It literally needs to stand out because it's so good that they want people to notice it and buy it. And like, please stop building 4 long swords every game. Please stop building all these door plates. Just buy a BF sword. We'll hold that thought though. This Cospect is just gonna make his way out of that one. bluezor apparently not looking for the fight. And respect to him, he knows not to overextend here. Tabasko, it looks like taking a shift in his build path. It will not be an immediate lethality item. Looks like potentially a phage there just to help him chase down the opposition.
Wait, that's so lame though. Actually, Like, I'm not a fan here. Like, I guess he's gonna be cutting down some armor for Endz, but there's not a whole lot of armor being built up on the other side. You got a Ninja Tabby on one. I think Death's Dance is where it's at on the Graves. But Black Cleaver, not a bad item by any means, just not the ideal.
Extra movement speed to chase. Maybe a bit redundant since you already have Phase Rush, but never a bad thing as Tabasko steals a couple camps before heading up the top side of the map. He's decided that he's the carry this game. All the resources belong to him. And bluezor and HustlinbeasT alongside SMILEY, they're chasing him down. They're on the hunt. And it looks like the focus here is the Herald. Now, this Herald, quite frankly, isn't good compared to the first one. Because you're not getting plates off of it. It's not going to be a huge gold influx. It's just a little source of pressure. Maybe will allow them to get back in the game. But it does mean that they give up their bot lane tower in the meantime. And it's definitely not ideal.
So this is actually something I like to talk about a lot, is like Herald in general, I feel like is kind of a trap. Obviously, like with turret plates, like it can be valuable, but now, as you said, like it's likely that just ends up being a turret trade. But while the Herald was going down topside, well, Draven just got the tower bot lane. So in theory, that's like a 1-for-1 trade, you say. But then on top of that, no one was bot lane, no one was farming. So Draven was getting more gold, more experience off of the wave he just farmed. No one from GamersOrigin went down there to pick that up. They committed 4 people to get the Herald, which does not give you that much experience. So this is actually a much better trade for YDN overall, unless you think a 4-second recall is somehow worth it, and I just don't think it is.
Why do you think people kill Baron, Ender?
For the 4-second recall,
For the 4-second recall.
I've been thinking about Baron wrong this entire time.
How do you not know this?
This entire time. I'm a clown. I'm sorry.
And here's my concern, right? One, actually, I'm not even concerned for YDN Gamers. They're doing great. I want to see if they can close it out. I remain skeptical until I see it proven that they can do it up against a team like GamersOrigin. But Tabasko's level 10 to bluezor's level 8. Endz is very close to level 10, whereas SMILEY just hit level 9. Tabasko now level 11 on top of that. So this is... bluezor is just getting completely and totally out-jungled. Now, this matchup wasn't super favorable. He had to find some kind of big advantage in the early game, but it is not going to get easier because Graves will one-tap him. We're witnessing Bucky gaming for any of you Valorant players out there. Graves is straight up Bucky. bluezor is permanently on an eco round. He only has base pistol, probably for the rest of the game.
The best part about the Bucky analogy is like Graves Q is the left click, and then Graves R is the right click on the Bucky there for the ranged attack.
Hashtag Bucky gaming. Let's go.
Don't buy a Bucky. I hate it. Anyways, look at this glorious Rift Herald in the mid lane. Going to be able to secure that singular tower.
Oh, no. The fight ulti now coming out. The rest of the team now on the retreat. Of course, the Q's going to whiff. The miasma will not connect either, so that's going to stop any potential return engage from the side of YDN Gamers. All things considered, not bad for GamersOrigin. Break down mid lane tower, something that the Ops has not done yet. So it does free them up to play a little bit more aggressively here. Will always need to have a man advantage, though, because they really cannot face check any bushes.
Yeah, that is always going to be the struggle with this team. And I feel like, like sort of looking over things, like scaling is super weird, but I feel like YDN should have the advantage as well. Cospect going to get caught out, but has the flat... Wait.
Tabasko? Oh, okay, bluezor manages to get that one. That's going to be huge, that extra XP.
He just flashed into the wall, man!
SMILEY now getting a tower uncontested as well. Cassio's pushing bot lane, but there's not really a lot that could be done with that pressure at this exact moment. GamersOrigin staying composed despite YDN Gamers having a decent advantage, and now it's only less than 1,000 gold between these two teams.
Yeah,
Just
I
like
like
that.
how you just ignore it. Super professional. I respect it, Dracos. We're going to go straight on past it. It never happened.
What?
It happened.
Oh.
Anyway, so here's the thing about Tabasko is that he's really strong at the moment. Anyone he runs into is going to be having a tough time with themselves here. And the scaling conversation was an interesting one because I feel like when you look at top lane, like Sylas, as he builds like, you know, towards like 4+ AP items is going to have like more value inherently than the Ornn. But of course, Ornn donates items over towards his teammates as well. And you're going to probably have an Infinity Edge for Endz. I wonder if we could even see an IE come through from Graves, like that giga high value one that he could get, but could of course also just turn the Black Cleaver into an Obsidian Cleaver, or upgrade the Serrated Dirk into lethality item to get boosted up by the Ornn as well. But if we're talking like the best pure scaling item, I'd love to see an IE come through a little bit later.
I would as well. honestly. I think it's good that you bring up Sylas just kind of as an option here. I think Sylas now with 40% CDR. CDR, obviously a ludicrous stat on Sylas, especially when so much of that healing is packed into the W. So Shemek's going to be feeling pretty good. I think we want to wait and see that level 16 before we can start to really see that peak value out of a Sylas in a fight. As Tabasko will get forced away. But I can see fights in this game being slow enough with the potential for Ornn ults to reset fights with Taric ult to kind of buy more time that Sylas can get 2 ults off in a fight, and that is pretty big.
Okay, I thought we were maybe seeing a collapse right there on towards Phantomles, but GamersOrigin didn't have the vision to necessarily go for that type of play themselves. One thing that we will have to keep in mind for both teams is like their Baron capabilities are really fast. You actually just saw Endz trying to scout out the Baron right there with his ultimate, because of course when it hits an enemy champion, it'll start snapping back. So he knew someone was in the bush right there when it came pulling back, but now it will be revealed with that deep ward. They know!
They know. But the thing is Taric keeps you so healthy that they can get out of this pretty quickly. The only person actually at risk here is HustlinbeasT. And he just starts to back off. 6k it will reset, but they get Phantomles' TP out of it in the meantime. Solid trade as long as they give up nothing else.
So the thing is, they'll lose mid lane tower off of this almost certainly as Gabbo and Phantomles try to zone bluezor out of his own jungle here. A team fight could get a little bit awkward if they're in a tight corridor, but toucouille still a few more seconds before his ultimate does return. And now with coming in towards mid lane, they actually weren't able to force toucouille away, so this tower will remain up for GamersOrigin, and that's what you're saying. They didn't actually trade anything away. They just got that teleport out of Phantomles for free.
Solid, and all it takes is, the risk proposition there doesn't look great if the enemy team gets mid lane tower, if that's what you're willing to give up just for this attempt on Baron. But if you're able to protect the tower, it's purely positive. So now we see Phantomles being matched up against Shemek here, and this matchup should be pretty favorable for the Cassio, assuming she can dodge out on this stun/knock up there from Sylas.
Yeah, and it would be easy for Sylas if he could dodge the miasma, the twin fangs, the ultimate as well. No, you're right, you're right. As long
if he didn't lock himself into facing forward as he eat with possibly the slowest animation in the entire game, as bluezor is going to get that kick select off, trying to use a bit more time before he gets the invulnerability. Now has to run for the hills, but Tabasko just says, oh wait, boom, one tap and done. Bucky Gaming. Tabasko hits him with the right click, hits him with that ultimate, is now unstoppable here. 2k advantage for YDN Gamers, and they are set up now to move up to 2-2 GamersOrigin. They were so close to 4-0 coming into the week. Could have been so comfortable after their first game, but YDN Gamers are fighting back in a way that I did not expect to see. They are having a monstrous game thus far.
Yeah, and it's going to be so hard for GamersOrigin to fight into them around this Baron. They don't have the Taric ultimate. They don't have a smite to go for the 50-50. It's really just Shemek and toucouille against the world here.
Toucoulle's starting to step forward, but has to walk forward into the miasma. Smokescreen as well, blocking that vision, and the zone control between a Graves and a Cassio. Even if there's not a ton of hard CC, it does make it impossible for GamersOrigin to get in the pit. That is Baron. That is a 4k goal lead for the side of YDN Gamers, and now just in survival.
So this kick sucked. First of all, didn't actually put Cospect the right way, but also it's a Nautilus. He has the stone plate as well. bluezor trying to go ham on the Lee Sin, but this is what you're saying. It's so hard to play the Lee Sin in these later fights against the composition that YDN has, and didn't seem like there was a flash either on the poor Kalista, who got traded away as well. And now YDN, yeah, they lost the Cloud Drake while we were in the replay, but they finally got the Baron, and they're finally going to be able to knock down this mid lane tower too.
And finally, we might also get to see Graves complete that Valley item. As the Black Cleaver is already done, he's approaching 3-item Graves status. Very terrifying point indeed. As Draven has finished both the Bloodthirster and the Infinity Edge, and a single axe now going to pretty much shred through anyone who wants to stand in front of him, as there is no proper tank on the side of GamersOrigin. These fights are going to be so difficult.
This Draven went from having 0 completed items to having 2 completed items because he was just sitting on those BF swords for so long. But yeah, going to be very, very powerful. And hey, Ornn's going to be hitting level 14 soon as well, so then we're getting even stronger.
Wait,
on the
IE is also left. So is the healing reduction item, this name I've completely forgotten. I keep wanting to call it Avarice.
Executioner's calling.
Thank you.
Executioner's calling. I hate all of it, though.
Calls it that all the time, and it totally messes me up. All right,
yeah, pickaxe is wrong, too. Okay, I'm just learning that everything... No, there's no logic in this world anymore.
Yeah, thank you for...
Maybe there were 2 artists at Riot Games, and only 2 of them, and one of them was left-handed and the other was right-handed. That's my theory.
toucouille is going to escape. Thank you for that breakdown, Ender. I think the lesson here is not to trust advice that you read in Twitch chat.
Well, that was it. No, they just pointed out the one item was facing the wrong way. I just went the step further, you know.
Oh, so don't trust
my
you.
analytical.
Okay.
Yeah, don't trust me. You guys can trust me.
Yeah, that's fine. Shemek, bam, jumping in.
No! Gabbo, okay, so Gabbo just upgraded Obsidian Cleaver instead of the Infinity Edge on Endz, and I'm upset. Anyways,
Gabbo,
he's getting caught now.
Yeah, sadly they don't really have enough damage here to provide enough of a threat. Of course, Adaptive Helm heavily mitigates anything that Azir is going to do from you, and Lee Sin is just not that threatening at this stage of the game, especially when he's only level 11 to your level 14. And for every one of these little plays that GamersOrigin are trying to go for here, they are getting punished. They are losing something else across the map. Shemek, no mana here, will continue to try to push, will continue to move forward, and will break the tier 2 tower, but it is just a trade there in the end.
Yeah, this isn't going to be the Baron to sort of like break open the base. We're a little bit too early for that, and YDN had not gotten nearly enough towers for themselves, but just, you know, getting them to that next item breakpoint, getting them the gold that they so desperately want and need is going to be super good, especially when we're going to have Phantomles probably picking up the Rylai's very, very soon here, and then it becomes even more difficult, especially for the Sylas, to play in these fights, because he wants to be going in, and then all of a sudden he's getting slowed down after his E gets cast away. He's going to turn into just an ult bot for this team, hopefully able to pick up the Ornn, but without Ornn ult, there's not a lot of great options, because Cassiopeia isn't super good when you're going in. It's great when you're back. Then the Nautilus, of course, can have some value, but not nearly to the same effect of that Ornn.
I feel like the two big risky picks of this draft, Ender, were the Lee Sin and the Sylas, because in theory, they're obviously both very powerful. As we see Shemek just going to dash nice and clean there, sidestep. Will now steal the ultimate, can use Graves' ult to knock him back, but there's simply too many members in the area. They're going to flash forward. He whittles on his hook. Ooh, bluezor can go for the kick here, but it's not going to happen, and Shemek will get taken down. Those are the two risky picks. We haven't seen them work whatsoever, and now that Shemek's dead, my point's proven nicely as YDN can just collapse here on the bottom side.
I will say Shemek has been the least of the offenders right there. The Lee Sin, the one that is highly, highly questionable in my book for the time being. YDN, just going to wait. And there we go. We got the upgraded Infinity Edge here for Endz. So actually, now that I think about it, Phantomles may be a bit delayed here by going for the Rylai's instead of something like a Rabadon's. He's not going to have an upgrade for quite some time, but regardless, YDN, like, that won't mean they lose the game all of a sudden or anything like that. Will just mean it is a slight delay before Phantomles gets super, super fed on that Cassio.
Ooh, and now we see the Zeal coming in for Tabasko as well. Third item, I thought we saw a crit cloak. I was getting excited about Infinity Edge and the potential for more bullets to come out of that shotgun. But instead, potentially Phantom Dancer here if he wants to go for the Lifeline passive, or just get really frisky with it and go for the Static Shiv.
Static Shiv for the big crits.
Static Shiv.
The Static Shiv.
The Static Shiv for the big AoE.
Static Shiv. Nah, this guy's going to be dancing for sure. He's going to be dancing. He's going to be dancing on him. He's going to be dancing on him while bluezor is just throwing up his tombstone, but unironically this time around.
Oh, no.
That's what the tombstone was.
Oh, no, Ender.
He told us. He told
too cool.
It wasn't about killing the enemy team.
God, and what is it? Maybe it's just a caster curse, but both the teams that we expect to do, I will say quite handedly, win their games, have lost pretty one-sidedly in these first two matchups. YDN Gamers got to give praise to this team overall. Tabasko was donated kills, but since then the team has been playing very well around punishing everything that GamersOrigin are trying to do and not really giving up any opportunities. A few tower trades here and there, obviously, where they can't really stop them. But outside of that, Baron going to be the next objective and potentially the final nail in the GamersOrigin coffin here.
Good news for GamersOrigin is they're the ones with control in the area for the time being. Bad news is that means they've used up all of their wards on HustlinbeasT, so if they don't make it work right now, which may very well happen.
Ooh, very late on the stone plate there. It's going to cost Cospect a lot. Could have potentially bought a lot more time if he had activated that immediately after getting hit, but maybe the CC was chained well enough that he couldn't even activate the item.
Yeah, thing is, GamersOrigin still not feeling super confident. They're going to clear away this wave first, and then I think they can move in towards this Baron. Cospect's going to be up in 25 seconds, but you're not going to get a much better chance than this, I feel, for the side of GamersOrigin. So Shemek has TP, toucouille can teleport in as well, and they're going to look for a fight.
TP going to be the response. Thing is, it's not necessarily the best fight you can take. They're continuing to move on it. They got the Kalista spears, which should be able to outsmite Tabasko despite his 2-level advantage. Now the stolen Ornn ult to buy a bit more time.
Oh,
Baron
man.
still leashed. Gabbo throwing his own launch back. toucouille going in. Now they're going to get the Taric ult coming down, trying to buy a bit more time. Throwing Taric into the back line, trying to shut down the Draven, the exhaust, the kick through. bluezor showing up right when it matters most is Tabasko. One-man army standing against the rest of this team, but once that phase rush falls away, it might not be enough. And now, GamersOrigin can turn right back to that Baron. An excellently executed fight.
Yeah, that's exactly what we needed to see out of them. They get the TPs and they make the play happen. Now Tabasko would have to pull off a miracle here with the steal. It is just him with the damage coming
against
in towards this pit. Against Kalista.
Be literally impossible, and Tabasko will not take the risk. He does not want to rely on his opponent just failing to press E. He will back off there.
Well, well, well. Seems like GamersOrigin still have a little bit of fight left in them as the gold gets very close right back on. And now items being completed as well. Double Zhonya's coming through from the AP soul laners of GamersOrigin. Watch the fight one more time because, again, it is that stolen Forge God from Shemek that does so much work for them at the start. Coming in from both sides as well. Like, YDN can't commit either direction in the fight. That just splits them up. The flash from Phantomles does absolutely nothing. He flashes into the second cast of that Ornn ultimate, and then they get stuck in this tight corridor against an Azir, which is not going to be favorable for your team at all.
And I gotta say, these are the moments where you can see that GamersOrigin is a first seed. When they can stay composed, when they can keep it together. First seed from the LFL, obviously always expected to do work in a tournament like this. And in that fight, they're just splitting the enemy team up. They're just waiting for someone to miss position, and then they punish. They keep a clear head while they do it. That is top-level performance at its finest to find these ways back in.
Now they've got the opportunity to sort of turn everything on its head now, right? As soon as YDN feel like they're pressured to be jumping in onto a Taric and an Azir, well, that becomes a little bit more difficult. Sometimes, you know, we see the leads that we're building up now dwindle substantially as SMILEY going to be even on itemization, just about with Endz in the bottom lane. Similar things to be said in mid side as well, where toucouille got his Void Staff, which is going to be super meaningful against Cospect and Gabbo. Those have sort of been the two champions that GamersOrigin have consistently tried to pick off, so even when that stone plate gets thrown up, there's still going to be DPS coming through from the side of Geo.
So much hard now for YDN to get anything done as the pressure starts to mount. Splitting pressure across 3 lanes, of course, this is where you really like to have that Sylas on your team. Comfortable just holding and continuing to pressure forward as Draven tries to hold onto that tower, tries to threaten that cannon minion. Now a gold advantage for GamersOrigin. Another tombstone. bluezor, come on. Come on. What is it bound to? Or is he just that persistent?
I think he's just that persistent, right? As soon as Riot's like, hey, we're enabling emotes, he's like, but how quickly can I press it? He's actually just getting his APM up.
APM
right?
up.
Like,
Yep.
This is a high
100%.
intelligence, high APM gamer right here for GamersOrigin, and he looks for the Q. He wants to press his emote one more time. He needs to make it happen to make that number get as big as possible. But the waves will be cleared away, and it's probably just going to be GamersOrigin playing for the soul denial from YDN, of course, with the cloud spawning into one.
And it's an interesting thing, of course. YDN very sad about not having a superior soul to the Cloud Soul. Additional Cloud Drake, always good to have, but the Cloud Soul is just not super meaningful. Oh, toucouille, though, might just be caught out here. Is going to be forced to ult away and will get the blue buff there. SMILEY now pushing in just to make sure that he can escape safely. Good attempt from Tabasko, but not going to amount to a whole lot. They're going to push for the fight anyway, though. They see Azir ult's down. They say, this is our time to shine. Gabbo now coming in, call the Forge God. SMILEY is going to flash out to safety, so getting the Kalista flash, but not able to find a greater fight than that.
At level 16, though, the Ornn ult is very low cooldown, so you won't have it for the Drake if the teams commit to it right now, but you can already see 25% of the way there. All YDN have to do is stall out for just a little bit.
Starting to cut through this one. Kalista has no time to set up. It should just be a clean take on the Cloud Soul. Ultimate now used, and Cospect just going to zoom out. Power of that Cloud Soul. Ulti now used from HustlinbeasT. They're just going to retreat. Excellent patience from YDN Gamers not to overcommit before that ulti was used. And they're ready now for the turn, waiting, hiding in this bush, looking for an opportunity to snipe off the members of GamersOrigin. And suddenly, HustlinbeasT is going to be in trouble.
Oh,
Hook
no.
will not connect.
Still needs to flash away to get on out of that one, though, and it is YDN with control coming down this middle lane. They may be able to hold that tower's 1 HP, so they're going to sneeze on that, and that one's going to fall. The minion wave will end up stalling out any attempt on towards that next, or inhibitor tower, rather.
And of course, really the big substantial gain here is that YDN Gamers once again tie up the gold. Good position to be at At this point in the game, they have the so a lot of hidden power there that we're not going to see necessarily on the gold graph. And they have Cloud Soul, which additional 10% ult cooldown reduction, you're happy to have for Nautilus. Great to have that extra movement speed after ulting. For Ornn, not relevant. For Cassio, I don't think relevant. I think actually for literally every other champion on their team, it's nigh unusable. Draven, maybe a little bit with that ultimate, but...
Well, the thing is, I feel like for a lot of champions, like there's specific champions where the actual ultimate part of the soul is going to be like very impactful, but just having the raw 10% movement speed increase is actually like pretty big. It persists throughout team fights, whether or not you're just moving around the map or skirmishing. So for a lower range champion like a Graves, like sometimes that is actually going to be important to be able to make sure you can reach your targets and make sure they just can't run away from you.
Oh, here we go. I feel like, Ender, we're gearing up for that final fight. It's 35 minutes in. There's 60k on both teams. The carries have got enough items to win an entire team fight if left unattended. And the only question is who can execute better. GamersOrigin, though, continue to work with this pressure point on the side lane. And I just feel like we have not seen that as much from YDN, grouping up significantly more often.
Yeah, I don't think YDN have great options for the split push, but I do like actually having Phantomles be the one to go pick up the waves in bot. He needs to finish off that Zhonya so he can upgrade that into the Paradox, but also just in terms of like who can actually hold the Sylas. Like, we're at a point now where Gabbo, like, his raw damage numbers aren't actually that high. Like, Ornn, you joke about it, how he's an assassin early on in the game. That's because tanks have really high base stats. Now we're at the point where level 16s, level 17s coming on in. He's not going to be able to make a lot of headway. So Shemek can, every wave, walk up, get a couple of auto attacks down onto that tower, and eventually that becomes a huge power point for that Sylas. Now against the Cassiopeia, that's not going to be possible. She does way too much damage. She's ranged. She has that level of threat, so able to force him out of the side lane. And now it is going to be 5 members from both teams committing around the Baron. It's going to get bloody in just a second because no one is going into a side lane anytime soon.
And the stolen Ornn ult too. Shemek doesn't even have to take any risk to get that one. Just walks into mid lane and grabs it. Of course, they could, in theory, wait out the threat. But that will be a long time. So I don't think they're going to go for that one. Question is, who pulls the trigger first? Who tries to get things kicked off? Taric ult is very OP when used proactively, but you need to get a good engage in order to do so. Reactively, it's obviously much worse, but it comes down then to what YDN can do in terms of bursting a single member out. If they split their damage against a descending Taric ult as it's about to activate, you're going to feel very bad very fast.
And I think it's important to note there's no flash on XD SMILEY coming into the fight, so if there's anyone that YDN can look to pile up on top of, it will be that Kalista, but they're just going on the Baron.
Calling a lot of Forge Gods here. The Baron has gone down.
It's polytheism.
Time as he gets back. Oh no. Cospect gonna run through. We got a whole pantheon here. And now the shutdown. Tabasko over the wall paired with Phantomles. They are shredding through GamersOrigin, and that's got to be it. Ender, they're running down. The TPs are coming in, and they're going to end the game. They're going to march down. Well earned by YDN. It got dark there for a little while. Wasn't going to happen. Could GamersOrigin pull it back? It was a valiant effort, but at the end of the day, YDN reigns supreme. They'll take their time walking to the base here, but a good win overall.
Yeah, YDN's Forge God is better than GamersOrigin's Forge God. That's what we determined out of this game. Shemek will fall as the final game, and the KO to come in with YDN looking to pick up a win and strike the first blow against GamersOrigin here in the EU Masters group stage.
And YDN moving up to 2-2, tying with Gamer Legion. A big time for this Italian team. Very impressed at what they've been able to do. You look at the tier list, Ender, Italy's not very high up on that tier list. It's the Prime League, it's the Superliga Orange, it's the Ultra Liga, it's the every kind of Liga, but the Italian League there at the top. And now, we might have to rechange kind of the power rankings here because that was a really solid performance, really excellent punishes, not the cleanest closeout, but suddenly we're looking at a world where one of these teams is no longer going to make it out of groups if Italy can then just push them down. YDN Gamers looking good.
Yeah, we've actually just seen 2 big surprise games already, so having me have a lot of doubts about the rest of the day because, of course, we are going to finish out the second round robin of Group A. We're casting Group A today. Group B was yesterday. It's backwards. Anyways, we're going to finish that out today, and I think that there is definitely some more upset potential, and it may not all be as it appears at the end of the day.
No, which makes it very difficult to look like a credible analyst, but also makes it infinitely more fun. So I'm excited. When we return, we'll get an interview with XD SMILEY. Apparently, we're only doing losers interviews today. Not intentionally. It's just how things are working out. But I'm excited to see what he has to say.
Just call him a loser, man.
Well, he did lose
At least he's
game.
keeping his chin up.
We're going to go to a break. When we
Let's
get
do that.
back, we'll get to see if XD Smiley was getting the intel or what actually went wrong in that game.
You've seen our name on the jerseys of amazing teams. Now, we are supporting one more. One that you don't see live on TV. But they are the best team in the world, and they are playing the toughest game. Maybe they're not performing in front of millions, but they are under the pressure of an entire planet. And they don't have fans cheering their names, but they have patients who will forever remember them. And they also need your help to win this game. Stay home like a pro.
Time for a true display of skill.
My axe is ready. Witness true strength.
A gift from me to you. Ooh, ooh.
Another soul lost.
Death by 1,000 cuts.
Everybody call me, standing
Hello, welcome back to EU Masters Day 6 here as we start to close out Group A. I am joined by none other than XD SMILEY, who's got a better beard than me. That's not a thing I normally get to say, but I love it. Now, sadly, I keep doing these interviews, and it keeps being with the team that loses. So the first thing I kind of want you to look at here is we have some of these plays from the early game in bot lane, and I would love to get your opinion kind of what happened here early on, because it started and it looked so good for you at first, and then it kind of fell apart.
Yeah, I think once we got the initial play, it looked really good for us, and we knew that they were looking for a top play, so we wanted to cross-map it, but because of some poor wave management, and I think also our timing could have been a bit better with the mid move, our play didn't work out in our favor, as you saw, and it really screwed us, especially after, because we couldn't get the wave in properly, and then it made it a bit awkward for us, like in general on the map.
Yeah, and of course, as we went on in the game, it felt very much just like YDN Gamers game for most of it. bluezor found a solid kick. You guys found a solid team fight. Then, of course, this final team fight where YDN Gamers were far enough ahead, they found their engage and were finally able to close out. Now, you guys, looking at you overall, were heavy favorites coming out of week one. Are you or the team shaken at all by this loss against YDN Gamers?
I don't think so particularly, because we had a good set of practices coming into this second week, and the confidence is running high. And honestly, this loss doesn't have to mean anything if we just end up winning the other two games, because then realistically no one can catch up to us anyways. So I think we gotta look at our mistakes. I think especially in the early game, this game, and just reset our mentals and go in strong into the two coming matches, and we'll be more than fine, I think.
Now, the team that I was looking at to be kind of your number one competition in week one, who you played, I would say, a very odd game against, was GamersOrigin. Can you talk to me a little bit about how you prepare specifically for Ornn as a player? Because I've seen you play the Kalista, you've kind of been monstering the lane phase. That's stuff that I know and understand, but there's the Heimerdinger, there's all these champions it feels like you have to ban. What's it like prepping for that matchup specifically?
It is really tough, because they have so many pocket picks, weird picks in any lane. They can swap around their laners. So it is tough. I think this time around we'll be even better prepared though. So I don't really see us losing to them at all. I think XL might be tougher, because I do think XL is actually way stronger than they have looked. And as you saw in the first game today as well, they won, right? So I'm not too scared about GamersOrigin unless we massively screw up draft like that. I think that's where their big strength is as a team. So,
all right. Well, I look forward to seeing how you guys handle kind of the Ornn champion pool, the Ornn donger, all of the weird stuff that they can kind of bring to the table, and wish you good luck on the rest of the day. Hopefully you can maintain that first position as we move later on. But of course, YDN Gamers and GamersOrigin are getting ready to hit the rift, so we're going to go to a quick break. And in the meantime, you can check out our Warner Song of the Day. Thank you again, XD SMILEY, for joining me.
Thank you very much.